All right, hello everybody. Welcome to this edition of Dirt Talk with Drake York. The second time we've ever tried out some of this new equipment. I think it worked pretty good last time. And today on the show we have Carson Hall from Grass Valley. How's it going, Carson?
Good, how are you?
I'm fairly well. Just got out of school, so that's always fun. Getting ready for the big weekend here at Stockton. But you got cycling coming up. How excited are you to officially get the season kicked off out there?
I'm pretty excited. We've always done good cycling, so I hope it's a good year.
Yeah, Carson, ran pretty good at the Jim Shirley Memorial. Talk about that race and how good of a race is that to really test where you are for the season upcoming.
So we weren't really ready for that race because we haven't raced since December. But going into it, we didn't qualify. Well, we qualified okay. Heat race, we got from the back to the front. In the A, we were doing good. We were in the fastest lap. We were running second until towards the end when our motor bogged on one of the starts. So we got past in turn 1 and 2, and we ended up third, but it was still a good night.
Yeah, Carson, of course, you're a part of a legendary racing family with your grandfather, Mel Hall, and of course your your dad, Mark Hall. Just talk about being in this legendary racing family and carrying on the Hall legacy.
I mean, it's pretty fun. We have all our sponsors from back when my dad raced, and we have people that help us around town. And he knows a bunch of people at the track. And if we go to sprint car races, we can't walk past 2 trailers and he'll be stopped talking to someone. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, and Carson, last year I believe you scored your first ever open intermediate win. Just talk about overall, pretty decent season out at cycling last year.
Yeah, last year was good. We ran good all season. Then the night of the win, it was a crazy race. We ran in towards the front. We were running 5th, I think. And then we got up to the 4th. Colton Rodman blew up. And the top 2 were battling for it towards with 5 or 6 laps to go. And a few laps in, they got tangled up, and I was in the lead. And from that, I kind of just really wanted to win. So I drove the best I could, and we ended out with the win.
Yeah, and Carson, let's just go back to the beginning of, I guess you could say, your career. We talk about your father and your grandfather, but when do you remember was your first introduction to racing?
So, when I was really young, 4 or 5, I remember my dad was still racing, so I'd be up in our garage helping him, or what I thought was helping with the sprint car, and I'd go and watch the races. But then he stopped when I was 9 or 10, and then I don't know exactly what year, but I think I was 11 or 10 when we've gone to Cycleland a bunch. We were watching, and then he decided he'd buy a beginner box for me. So I started out in beginner box at Cycleland, and throughout the years worked my way up to 500.
Yeah, you talk about racing at Cycleland box stock. For most people that don't even know that I raced, me and Carson all actually duked it out a few times. Carson, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad was that?
I really don't remember that, but it was box stock. Everyone was running into everyone.
Yeah.
So you weren't that bad.
Yeah, me and Carson actually. I have one story from cycling. Towards the end of my so-called racing career, me and Carson were struggling for our lives in this one heat race. There was 6 cars. Carson was running 4th, and I was running 5th. And Carson out of nowhere spun out in 3. And being the big ding-a-ling I was, I hit the brakes too hard and spun out. I got pretty mad after that heat race, but yeah, we're good buddies now, me and Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like I said, I don't remember box stock much.
Yeah, so me and Carson, we raced together for a while, and yeah, pretty much. And your sister Bella, if I'm not mistaken, she raced with you for a while. How was that racing with your sister?
It was pretty fun. It was kind of scary knowing if we got wrecked together, it might be a while because it's 2 cars, so double the parts.
And then,
yeah.
And then you have the drive back to Grass Valley too when you guys wrecked.
Yeah, we did drive back to Grass Valley. mad at each other. So
Yeah, and I don't think Bella doesn't race as much anymore at all. I don't think.
no, she hasn't been in the car for like 3 years. Well, she's done the Mel Hall. We've put in the car together for that, but that's it.
Yeah, you talk about the Mel Hall Memorial, of course, one of the big events out at Marysville Raceway. How special is it for you to not only have that race in honor of your grandfather, but also to get to do a memorial lap out at Marysville in your outlaw cart?
Oh, it's pretty cool. That my grandpa has a memorial, and it's really weird going on in a outlaw cart compared to seeing all the sprint cars on the track. You think the track's smaller. Well, when you're sitting in an outlaw cart with no suspension and right off the ground, it's a really rough ride around the track.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine. Do you help with planning of the Mel Hall Memorial, or do you just kind of stand off to the side and let the adults take care of all the planning with it?
I kind of just stand off to the side until it gets like a week before, and then I'll get the other car ready, and we'll figure it out. And then once we're there, I usually help out some with anything that's needed.
So, Carson, I know you took the winter off. How does that affect you when you take the whole winter off from running at Red Bluff and then hopping in the car at Cycling, a few weeks later? How does that affect you? Does it take a little while to get back used to the outlaw cart?
Oh, I thought it would take a while. We raced in Chowchilla and Lakeport a few times, which wasn't the best, so I went and watched at Red Bluff a lot. But hopping in, I was kind of nervous for being the first time in a few months. But we did good, so I can't really complain.
I know the winter season is way the heck off out there, but I believe you're 15 now, so you do meet the minimum age requirement to go run the open class at Red Bluff. Do you think you might run a few races or possibly the whole season?
Yeah, me and my dad were talking about it. We were talking about going out when it's sunny and a good day and it's not raining, because to us it's not too much fun to go out and be miserable in the rain.
Yeah, the rain at Red Bluff. For some reason, I find those races the funnest. I don't know why. There must be something messed up with me. But in Carson, I look at the OI class, and we have people like you, Nate Jones, Tyler Matheny, Dan Coleman, and some of these people that are just coming out of 250s like Tanner Pettit. How fun is it racing with all the drivers that pretty much are all your friends?
Well, it's really fun to race with all your friends because you kind of know what they're doing, and if they do something, you can walk up to them, and it's not like walking up to a total stranger and confronting them. And when you win or do good, they're always right next to you doing something.
Yeah, kind of like how at the Jim Shirley Memorial, you and Nate Jones, of course, very close friends. How special? I mean, it probably wasn't the greatest feeling for you to run third in that race, but how special was it to see Nate get a win so early in the season?
I mean, that was a pretty cool race. In the heat race, we ended up first and second, which we were talking about that before we even went out. We were talking about getting first and second. We ended up doing that, and then in the A main, it was pretty cool to watch him win that.
Yeah, Nate Jones, of course, really been an up and comer. When did you first meet Nate?
So I think it was last year at Cycling. We were racing against each other, and I kind of didn't know who he was. We were talking, and then I was with someone, and we just were talking some. Then the next race, we talked some more, and then we just ended up becoming friends. And it's been like that for a while now.
Very cool, Carson. Your dad, how much has he helped out, not only giving you advice, but has he been a very good setup guy over the years, I guess you could say?
Yeah, my dad sets up the car. It runs. We've had some minor mess-ups, but it doesn't affect the driving too much. It's kind of me having to figure out how to drive the car, how it's set up.
Carson, what's been the best advice anybody has given you, your dad or someone else, that pertains to driving a race car?
That's a hard one. I would say the best advice would be not to act stupid on and off the track. If someone spins me out, not to give it a big deal and go get up all in their face. And then on the track, if I get hit, not to do it back to the person, to just be a chill driver and do it when it's a really big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I always do respect a race car driver like that. And I'd say, you, Nate Jones, and a few other guys like that, you guys, it's just like this group of drivers that really seem like really chill guys.
Yeah, we don't really go at people. Only if like they're spinning out like the whole field every race. Then someone will probably say something. It's not like that we want to fight them or something. It's just chill out, dude, or something like that.
All right, Carson, I'm going to give you a quick chance to thank your sponsors for helping you get here so far this season.
So I'd like to thank Mel's Transmission, because that's kind of how I get out there every weekend. Pete's Welding welds all our stuff. If we break anything, we've had frames welded. Kevin Shahara designs all our wings and everything like that. That's really it.
All right, Carson, I know you got to get off to work soon, so I'll let you get ready for that. Thanks for joining us today.
Okay. Thank you, Drake.
All right, everybody, that was Carson Hall, driver of the 54 OI car out at Cycling Speedway, of course, the son of sprint car driver Mark Hall, who was one of the best at the former Grass Valley Speedway. Of course, that track, unfortunately, we lost. If you want to hear about that track, just go ask somebody like Mark Hall or even Andy Forsberg. Andy knows a ton about that. In fact, just go ask Andy Forsberg about anything in, wing sprint car history. So if you're looking to go out to a race this weekend, we got quite a few. I know the monster trucks, not everybody's ideal choice of, what they want to go see racing, but if you're in the Chico area, monster trucks at Silver Dollar Speedway Friday and Saturday. Of course, we always have Cycleland Speedway featuring all of the normal divisions. Cycleland, we talk about the Jim Shirley Memorial. That's a non-points race event that was run 2 weeks ago. We got washed out for the first points race last week, so we're going to try it again. Weather's looking good out at Cycleland. Unfortunately, I won't be there this weekend. I'll be out at Stockton, at the Stockton Dirt Track for the Asparagus Cup 2-day Sprint Car Challenge Tour race. That is going to be a good race, I feel like. You got a lot of good drivers coming in right now, and you got a lot of the veterans still in there. Heck, we just saw Andy Forsberg and Sean Becker, two of the best in California, run 1-2 at Placerville. So really excited to get out to Stockton. Never been to a Sprint Car Challenge race personally, so really interested to see what it's all about out there. But that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Dirt Talk with Drake Dirt. We thank you for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.